Welcome learner, my name is Shivaji Depnath. Today I will be discuss about PHP variable and variable types. It is the fundamentals of the programming. If you are developing any kind of software development and if you wanted to learn about software development from scratch and you wanted to learn about PHP, so it's very helpful for your learning journey. And if you don't want to miss anything about this knowledge, so don't skip this video, watch this till the end for the details informations. And if you are new visitor on my YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the future notifications. Okay, so never wasting so much time, let's start it. So PHP is a server-side programming language, and right now I talk about PHP variable and variable types. So when we are discuss about PHP variables, so variables are mainly two types. One is primitive data type and another is non-primitive data type, and it's also called user-defined data type. Okay, so what is primitive and what is non-primitive? Primitive is a type which are some kinds of predefined data types which are already reserved by the PHP, because primitive data types we cannot change their types, we cannot change their behaviors when we are using that kind of data types. But user defined data types are loosely coupling, and when we are using user defined data types, so that time we can change and modify that data types in our inherited class or in our programs. Okay, so many concepts will be come with next videos, but it is mainly basic part of this concept. So what is the primitive data type? So primitive data type have two kind of data types already there, and they are called non-numeric type and numeric type. So non-numeric type mainly comes from string and user defined, actually not use defined, user defined. Okay, these kind of data types mainly non-numeric data types, and numeric data types are limited. So numeric types mainly boolean, integer, float, double, short. So many numeric data types already there, but it is limited. Non-numeric types are mainly comes from string, but otherwise it's user defined. And user defined data types also is a non-primitive data type which is comes from mainly classes. When we are starting the variable declaration in PHP, so that time we can use dollar sign. In PHP 7 you can use dollar sign for the variable declarations. Okay, so now it's the boolean data types variable, and this boolean data types variable have you can set true or false. Okay, true means is a 1 and false means is a 0 or nothing. Okay, so it's the mainly two type of data mainly hold when we are calling any boolean data types, and we did not declare any kind of data types before and after using variable name, because PHP dynamic programming language, and this programming language have dynamic data variable type assignable features, because when you are assign the value with the variable declarations, so that time you can it's automatically define the data types as per value. So this is the boolean data types, and age is equal 23. 23 means it's the integer data types, and integer data types have no point value or fractional value when you are declare any kind of integer. And after that we can use price sometimes need some decimal point value and fractional value like this, so it comes from float. Okay, if we use product variable like this, and that time we can use this kind of variable data types, and it's called string data types because it comes from single quotations and double quotations both. So these are variables declarations process, but here I give some small template of class part, but it is not a final part, because this class for how can declare any user defined data types using in our program. So for that purpose I just use this class, and this class have create some variable like this, and after instantiate this class they have some features can hold after using that variables. That means when we are using some kind of class instance, so that class instance have some property, it is called property, but it's also variable. But when you are using in class, so that time we can call as a property. So it's the property which are storing some data in the RAM memory. Okay, and it's the functions. These functions are not stored in the RAM memory. It's actually doing some actions and performance with the functions. That means if you want to do some calculations using program, so that time you can use functions, and functions look like this, and it is the actually class functions. And when we are returning some data like this, so that time we can use this kind of functions calling options when we are calling our current class object. So that time we can using this kind of syntaxes in the PHP sections. It's the mainly PHP object-oriented process where can declare some classes. When we need some PHP output, so that time we can use echo, print. So many output functions are available in the PHP language, and echo is one of them. So it is actually output of the PHP language, and this is the actually string part, and it is the actually concatenation part when we are using the dot sign. So dot sign are concatenate with the variables and string both in one line. Okay, when we wanted to produce some data from the server. So this is our whole outputs for the variables, and when we wanted to some output for the browser data, so that time we can use also HTML syntaxes using PHP part, and that time we can use HTML syntax for the output. Okay, so it's the actually main basic structure of the programming, but how can output from this file? So when we wanted to run this code, here have two way to run our code. First thing is we can run our PHP syntaxes from the console. So for that purpose, I right click here and open in integrated terminal, and after then we can write simple command line syntax, which is the PHP, and after then we can use the simply file name here. Index.php is the file name, and after then we can get all the output from the files which are assigned here. If you wanted to see in the browser section, so that time you need to be configure your server environment in your system, but I already set up the server environment with my PHP environment globally and use PHP syntaxes anywhere from system to see how it works in the browser. Okay, for that purpose I can use some syntax like this: PHP and -s means server and localhost colon 8000 port, and this server port are already activated in my system, and now I can open my applications, all the outputs which are comes from the console part, which are getting from the browser. So this is our actually output when we are new learner of programming language. So that time you must be understand about these basic things. If you think learn something from this video, and you have to like this video, so hit the like button, and also you can share this video with your friends and family. And if you are new in my YouTube channel, so don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, and I will be meet with you next learning video. So stay with me and stay learning.